Can you guys move to the left side? Okay, so we're gonna solve absolute. We're gonna solve absolute equation, and we're gonna solve other various type of equation today. So we're gonna go through kind of fast pace because we're behind by a little bit due to the fire drill from 2 days ago. So solving absolute value equation is very easy. So solving absolute value equation. So we're gonna solve some simple one. So for example, square root of x is equal to 2. What is x?
Or negative 2.
2 and negative 2, good. So you're gonna have two solutions, right? One is x equal to 2, x equal to negative 2. Usually that two part right there usually represent those two solutions. Now with the absolute value, just gonna make whatever inside becomes positive, but does not alter the sign inside, so don't ever change your sign. So if you have, let's say, square root of x minus 2 is equal to, I don't know, 6. This one does not alter the sign inside. It just alter the result, that's it. So that sign will never change. That's always gonna stay negative. A lot of people is gonna say, oh yeah, that changed your positive. No, don't ever change that sign. That sign's gonna stay there. So the way to think about it is kind of like this. Okay, so what are you gonna solve for? You're gonna say, two routes always means two things. One is gonna be x, you're gonna drop the parenthesis here. It's equal to 6. And you're gonna, x minus 2 here is equal to negative 6. Kind of same process, right? You set it equal to the 6 or set it equal to the negative 6. And you solve for it's gonna be x equal to 8, and then x is equal to negative 4. So those are easy one. With some harder one, I just remember the acronyms. Okay, and this is what I remember. So without this one here, I remember the acronym is gonna be KFC. So you guys all like KFC, but I don't like KFC because I'm vegetarian. But this is the acronym I remember to help me solve any kind of absolute value equation problem. So it could be equation or inequality, you're gonna solve all the way. So here's the way it is. So if I have 2 times 2x minus 1 minus 4 is equal to, I don't know, is equal to 10. Okay. So when you think about this, you start with the I, and I actually kind of, tell people that I stand for isolation. Isolation, that means you isolate what functions. This is a function, absolute value equations. I'm gonna isolate the absolute equation. So I'm gonna get this by itself is equal to something else. Does that make sense? So what do I do first?
You add 4 to the other side.
You add 4 to the other side. Good. So that is gonna be 2 times 2x minus 1 is equal to 14. I'm gonna, what I do?
Divide 2, the 2 on the side.
Divided by 2, so that's gonna be 2x minus 1 is equal to 7. So those absolute values still, right?
Yeah, it could be 2x minus 1 equals 7, and 2x minus 1 equals negative
equal to 7, and the 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 7. So what I say by split, here's a split part. You kind of like, if you split up with your boyfriend or girlfriend, you kind of go 2 different ways, right? I need you to start with a bubble. Okay, so 2x minus 1 equal to 7, and 2x minus 1 equal to negative 7, right? Let's go both ways. It's gonna go, one's gonna keep exact same way, one's gonna go. So then you're gonna say 2x equal to plus 1 is gonna be 8, x is equal to 4 here, so this is one solution. On SAT, they like to ask this part. On SAT, they usually ask the second part here. So it's gonna be 2x plus 1 is equal to negative 6, x equal to negative 3. They usually have this answer. On SAT, they're gonna ask you this one. They will ask you the negative solutions. Because people usually get this x equal to 4, and they say x equal to negative 4, and that to be a wrong answer. But this is the correct way to do it. So how do I keep this? So I means isolation, split, that means split this way, so this side is gonna be keep, and this one's gonna be flip and change. So you're gonna flip the equal sign. But the equal sign doesn't flip, because the equal sign, if you flip, is still an equal sign, right? It doesn't change. So equal sign does not offer any changes. But it's okay, you still treat it as you flip. And you're gonna change the sign on the other side, not on this side. You're gonna change the sign on the other side. And you solve for it. Now, why is that relevant? Because this is an equation. What if I give you an inequality? So this is an absolute value equation. Now what if I give you an absolute inequality? So we're gonna say absolute value, absolute inequality. Okay, so absolute value inequality is gonna be different, but the process of solving the problem is actually the same. So I want you to try this one. So 3 times 2x plus 5 is minus 1 is greater than, let's go with 11. Okay, so, and we're going to talk about the last 2 parts. So you're going to do this problem. But remember, is I split KFC, okay? Split 2 different routes. One's keep, one's flip and change. Now this time, the inequality sign does flip now. Unlike equal sign is symmetric, so if you flip, it's still equal sign. But the inequality sign is gonna flip this time. So that's the only thing that's gonna change. Now we're gonna go over something called interval notation as well, and also graphic solutions. You guys should be able to finish up this pretty quick. So how do I isolate this equation? Now what?
Add the 1.
Add 1, so that's going to be 3 to the 2x plus 5.
Divide the 3.
And then greater than 12, divided by 3.
Yeah.
So that's going to be 2x plus 5 greater than 4, absolute value. Now here's a part that's going to be different. So keep, so this one's going to keep exactly the same except without absolute value, greater than 5. And this part is going to be 2x plus 5 is less than negative 5. So you got to make sure you do that. Less than.
How'd you get 5?
Oh, sorry, it's 4. Negative 4. Now I'm going to subtract 5 on both sides. So that's going to be 2x greater than negative 1. And x is greater than negative 1 over 2. It's greater than equal to, sorry. And this one's going to be subtract 5 is going to be 2x less than -9, x less than -9/2. Do I need to change sign here when I divide by 2? No, we divided by positive, so we don't change the signs. Now you're gonna say that's my solution. Yes, it's great and all, but that's not gonna be done. For me, that's just only part of the solutions. Because this is called algebraic solutions, we're gonna have to say, what is the graphic solution? So this is the part that you guys might have issue with. So the same thing as before, you're gonna go to -infinity to +infinity, put a 0 right in the center, and you're gonna say, okay, this one is -1/2, so it's gonna be here, so it's -1/2. And this one's -9/2. Are we okay here? So x is less than -9/2. So we're gonna have a closed circle to which way? And we have a closed circle to which way? Now you're gonna read it like a textbook. We will know about interval notation, right? Interval notation, we read the textbook, we read from left to right, right? So we're gonna look at where the solution starts at this part, all the way to -9/2. And you have to write it from left to right as well. So it's gonna be -infinity to -9/2.
Isn't it a bracket?
You're right, I keep on making mistake. Union, and the -1/2 to infinity. And the infinity never have a bracket because you can never reach infinity. And you can try this question. I'll just give you one that's something is easy. So it'll be 2 times 3x minus 5 is less than, I don't know, 12. And I want you to figure out what it says. But meanwhile, that's it. And I want you to graph the interval notation as well. Graph the graphic notation and interval notations. Does that make sense? Can you try this question already? Can you erase this part or no? No? So that's absolute inequality. I just have to divide by 2, right? That's isolate, right? Absolute value less than 6. 3x minus 5 less than 6. 3x less than plus 5 is 11. X less than 11/3. Flip and change, so it'll be 3x minus 5 greater than -6. Plus 5 plus 5. 3x greater than -1. X greater than -1/3. This one's 11/3. This one's -1/3. 0, -infinity, infinity. So less than 11/3, so it's going to be solid circle going this way. And this is a solid circle going this way. And that's going to be the solution. So your solution should be bracket 1/3 to 11/3. Again, read it from left to right. Questions? This is hard. There are 2 extreme cases. So we're gonna talk about absolute value extreme cases. Extreme cases. Okay, so what I mean by extreme cases? There was 1 year I asked a student, and he told me flat out the answer right away. So x minus 2 is less than -5. And I say, hey, do you know the solutions? And you can probably solve it, you're probably gonna get a solution, and your solution will be wrong. But I want you to think instead of trying to solve. So don't solve anything right here. So the student was Isa. His name is Isa. I don't know, nobody probably here knows him. Isa is one of the student I asked him when he was taking some lower math class. He had a very bad grade in Algebra 2. He had a D in Algebra 2. So he come to my class. We're in the lower level math study class. And I asked him, I says, hey, do you know the answer of this one? And he said, yeah, I know the answer. And he says, I said, what is the answer? He said, the answer is no solutions. I'm like, huh. I asked him the reason why he thinks no solutions. He said, well, it's easy. Absolute value. So it doesn't matter what value I plug in, right? I can plug in -1,000. -1,000 subtract 2 is going to be -1,002. But if I absolute value it, it's always positive. So a positive value is always never less than -5. So therefore, there's no solutions. So he was able to answer that question, and I said, hey, Isa, do you take Precalculus? He said, no. I said, hey, do you want to take calculus with me? He said, okay. We took it. And he passed the AP exam with a 5. And so the thing is I like about him is he knows how to think. Most of you guys just learn how to do a problem, but not thinking the problem. So here's the things that you have to think. How do you think things through? So this you can think through. What do you think about this one? What do you think this one? The answer of this one? Well, absolute value is always positive, right?
Yeah.
Positive is always greater than 95, right? So that means it's all real number. Or negative infinity to infinity, that's a correct notation. That means all the number including from negative infinity to positive infinity. Those are the two extreme cases that we get. So he was able to spot on to test that. And I said, hey, it doesn't matter the grade in the past. I know you know how to think. I'm gonna move you up, and we're gonna take a calculus. And in a few months, he was able to solve a problem I can solve. And after 3 months, he was able to solve the problem I cannot solve. So, and it wasn't because of me, it was because the students are very talented. But, again. So how about this question? This is a quadratic equation. How would you do this problem? What's your suggestions? Square root, okay. What do you think you're gonna get accomplished when you square root this? Okay, so you really cannot square root this and then get this cancel out because it doesn't make sense, right? You cannot do this. First of all, you have to understand you cannot do square root 16 plus square root 9. That's not okay. That's not okay. That does not equal to each other. Because technically, this is equal to what? Square root 25? That's equal to 5, right? You cannot do this, split up, and just take the square root and square. You cannot take it out that way. So this one's equal to 4 plus 3, which is 7, which is the wrong answer. right? So therefore, you cannot split up. So therefore, this is, by square root both sides might not be the best way. So you say you have the different suggestions? Take out x, good. That's awesome English. Right? It's okay. So take out x, but if you take out x, that's also another way to do it. Because you can take out x, but that's not gonna help you. If you take out x, it's gonna give you here, 2x minus 5 equal to 7, but that's not helping you solve the problem.
Can you
Yes.
use the quadratic formula?
You can use quadratic formula with a condition. What would be the condition has to be?
You need to have C.
You need to have C, does it have C here?
Well, you can.
You can, how?
You subtract 7.
You subtract 7 on both sides, perfect. So you should take the 7 to the other side. When you see the second degree or third degree or fourth degree function, you make sure the equation is set equal to 0. Make sure equation is equal to 0. And then what do I do here? A box, good. A box will work, quadratic formula will work, but box is going to be faster. I would choose a box over quadratic formula because not all answers going to be using quadratic formula. So here's a box will help you. So it'll be 2x squared minus 7 minus 5x, 2x and x, 7 and 1, so it's going to be 2x, 7x. Which one will be negative? This one, right? So it'll be 2x minus 7 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Don't forget about equal to 0, because that's the most crucial part. That's equal to 0. Now the following thing is, when you factor, right, make sure you factor all the way. So make sure you factor all the way. And then set each factor equal to 0 by using something called zero product property. And you probably rarely hear this term, but it's very, very commonly used. So we're going to set 2x minus 7 equal to 0, 2x equal to 7, I'm going to add 7 on both sides, x equal to 7 over 2, x plus 1 equal to 0, x equal to negative 1. So this is the two solutions here. That's going to help you. Now let me ask you a question. Is there any difference between those two? Those two expressions, are they the same? You factor to become this, right? Just change the way it looks. But they are the same. So why do we choose a factor form? The reason factor form, you can set each factor equal to 0. But if you see here, what is zero product property? If I plug in negative 1, right, into here, what will happen? Negative 1 plus 1 is what? 0. Anything multiplied by 0 is what?
1. 0. I thought that was the power.
That's okay. And yeah, I know what you're saying. So anything to 0 power is 1. You were thinking about that. But that's okay. So now it's negative 1 plus 1, 0, right? So it doesn't matter if I plug in here. It doesn't matter because I plug in here is going to give you negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. I don't care about is negative 9 here. I only care about this part equal to 0, the whole thing equal to 0. If I plug in negative 1 into the equation, what will happen?
You get 0.
You get 0 because they're the same expression, believe it or not, right? But would you rather do this one or this work? This is so much work, right? This one's 2 times 1 plus 5 minus 7 is equal to 0, so it'll be 7 minus 7 equal to 0, 0 is equal to 0. So much work. You could have plugged in negative 1 here. You can visualize, you can see that, oh, that's equal to 0, so therefore whole thing equal to 0. If you graph this function right here, if I graph it, that's going to be a function looks like this. Here is going to give you the roots, which is negative 1 and 7 over here. That's the roots. Roots solutions, x-intercept, and a 0. They are the similar way to answer questions. They can ask you what is the roots, what is the zeros, what is the x-intercept, what are the solutions. Usually they represent the usually on the same thing. You guys okay? You guys look like you're gonna fall asleep. So let me ask you a trick question. Let's see if you guys can do it. A simple question like this, see if you guys can do it. It's really related to everything that we just told you. X3 equal to x. This is my favorite equation. X not x3. X to the third power equal to x. Yes, Sai, you remember this question from last year?
Yeah.
You failed it multiple times.
Yep.
And this is my favorite question. This reason why my favorite question is because when I take the AP Calculus the first year, the second time I take it, I had to pass this Algebra 2 test, and my teacher gave this question, and I got it wrong. She's take out 20 points on this one.
Really?
I got a 58 on the test. I failed my first test. And this was one of the questions I failed 20 points.
Is it like a trick question?
No, that's not a trick. If you follow what I just teach you, you're gonna get an answer.
But I already knew it, so, yeah.
Come on, can you do it? Make sure you make sure you factor all the way. Set each factor equal to 0. Anybody got an answer already? I think you want to give a shot. I know you know the answer. Because you didn't get it right last year.
I did.
Lenny, what do you think we should do here?
You get the x on the other side of the equal sign, make it 0.
Good. And what do I do afterward?
You make the box.
Well, can I make a box here? There's only 2 terms here.
Yeah. Since it's to the square root of 3, you do the. Yeah, and box after that.
Yes, what do you think?
Do you take out the x?
Take out the x, like he said, yes. Take out the x is a very big deal. And what do you do next? Because you take out x times x squared equal to x to the third, right? X times 1 equal to negative x. You have to have a 1 there. And what do I do now?
Divide.
Not divide, no. No.
Factor.
What is this? A squared minus b squared, right? Is equal to what? Right? A plus b times a minus b, right? So that's going to be x times x minus 1 times x plus 1. That's equal to 0.
And here we go.
X equal to 0. X minus 1 equal to 0. X plus 1 equal to 0. X equal to 1. X equal to negative 1.
And there we go.
If you graph this function over there, if you graph this, it will show up like this. And this is a negative 1, 0, and positive 1. We're going to talk about this.
I am so confused. No way.
Okay, so here, did you confuse this part?
No, it's on the bottom.
Here?
No, lower.
Here?
Yeah.
So x equal to 0, x minus 1 equal to 0. I set each factor equal to 0. X plus 1 equal to 0. So I solve it, move the 1 to the other side. X equal to 1. Move the 1 to the other side, x equal to negative 1. X equal to 0.
Okay.
If you graph it, you're going to get those 3 solutions. We're going to talk about this later.
Later.
How much time I have?
Here.
Like a minute.
Huh?
3 minutes.
Okay.
Minutes.
3
minutes.
I'm going to give you those 3 questions here. And I'm gonna do it. If you are lost, you can watch a video. But I'm gonna do this 3 questions here. I'm gonna do it really quickly. So this is the first questions. is x times 2x minus 7 is equal to 4.
Let's do this one.
Second one is 2x squared is equal to 17 over 3x plus 1. The third one is going to be x to the third plus 5x squared is equal to x plus 5. And if I run out of time, just watch the video for the last 3 questions. But this is a very easy questions.
Okay, let's see how easy it can be.
What would you suggest to do here?
Lose it as a squared minus b squared.
No, it doesn't work. It is no square. There was no square. Do you see any square here?
You
Subtract the
distribute.
Distribute. Yes.
And then you subtract the 4.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then I can do a box, right?
Yeah.
So that's gonna be what? 2x and x, 4 and 1. That's gonna be ax and x. Which one need to be negative? This one need to be negative, right? 2x plus 1, and then x minus 4 is equal to 0. 2x plus 1 equal to 0. X is equal to negative 1/2. I will finish this one on the video. I don't like fraction here. I'm gonna get rid of this fraction. Multiply by what?
3. Wait, 12.
3.
Oh yeah, 3 works.
So that's gonna be 6x squared is equal to 17x plus 3. So 6x squared minus 17x minus 3 equal to 0. I set the equation to the other side because that makes my life easier. So that's going to be 6x and x, 3 and 1. That's going to be 18x and 1x. This one's to be negative. So it'll be 6x plus 1. And then x minus 3 is equal to 0. X is equal to negative 1 over 6. X is equal to 3. This one's just a factor by grouping. And now factor our x squared here. So x plus 5 minus 1 times x plus 5 is equal to 0. X squared minus 1. X plus 5 equal to 0. And x plus 1 times x minus 1 times x plus 5 is equal to 0. X equal to negative 1. X equal to 1. X equal to negative 5. So even 4 term you had to factor by grouping. Oh, you're early. Hey, you ready to rock and roll? What's a rumor out there on this test?
Everyone just said, when they said I'm stupid, so I can cry.
What'd you say?
I had to explain.
You have the 60?
Oh my god.
You can sit